Welcome back, you're watching Storyboard, and in this episode we are discussing the 75-year-old journey of Mondelez in India and what lies ahead. Yeah, before we move forward, let's quickly take a look at some of the iconic campaigns from Mondelez that we have seen over the years.
कुछ खास है हम सभी में कुछ बात है हम सभी में बात है खास है कुछ स्वाद है क्या स्वाद है जिंदगी में
कैडबरीज डेयरी मिल्क असली स्वाद जिंदगी का.
Okay, Piyush, your reaction, you were a part of this.
We were actually in trouble with Cadbury's that time.
You were in trouble with Cadbury's that time.
Yeah, because together we could not solve the problem. So this was a kind of ultimatum. And so this was a challenge. But when we recorded the song, I knew that we got something going. And when this girl danced, this is the first take, because that's where she was the most natural. And she did that take and she danced that 13-second shot. We just said to each other, this account is going nowhere. This brand is going to go everywhere.
And what was the client reaction back then?
This,
Who was the client?
Rajiv Bakshi was the boss, and he saw the work. The pitch was still on, and he just, the way he looked, he said nobody else has a chance.
Yeah.
So he was very supportive, and the entire film, he had a big role to. So there are a number of things in this campaign, and the campaign was done by a whole lot of young people who picked up things from life. I think one of the things, and I'm covering all of Cadbury's stroke Mondelez in this, is that things were picked up from life in a fashion which was unfamiliar to people, and that's why they found it brilliant. That's why they enjoyed it. And touching people is perhaps the core of entire Mondelez advertising.
Which one has been your favorite, Nitin, so far?
I mean, there are lots. I mean, I must say the two that you played just now, they're absolute favorites. Some of the work we did around Shubharam has been absolutely wonderful. Some of our work on generosity has been great. I was a category manager for dairy milk once, like 10 years, 12 years back. And every time I would share the historical of Cadbury Dairy Milk, every time was an overwhelming experience. There's just so much of iconic work every 2 years. It's just wonderful.
Over to you, Anil. How does Global perceive or look at this entire journey of Mondelez and Cadbury's in India, and what does it take to come up with, you know, these brave, bold ideas?
Mondelez India has always stood for the creative excellence that we've been having for many years. So it's not a recent phenomenon, and there's always been seen with a degree of almost a jealousy to say, you know, the consistency with which we were able to do great work, which also reflected in great business results, right? So it is not just about creative excellence standalone, but creative excellence leading to category creation, leading to consistent business growth. What's gotten added on top of the consistency is really work which now the world sees and says, you know what, I could have done it. It's no longer India specific. This is something that anybody could have done. What has impressed is the kind of thought leadership and experimentation that India has been able to bring in through the whole work around data and digital that Nitin was referring to. So I think it's moved on from creative excellence, which was always there, to something which could have happened anywhere in the world. So it's nothing specific to India. And then, you know, really the experimentation and the thought leadership is now what India is being looked at from a global perspective.
So, as I mentioned, and this is to you, Nitin, and to you, Anil, as I mentioned in the beginning, it was never a smooth 75-year-old journey. There were hiccups on the way. The initial challenge, as I mentioned, was that it was perceived as a chocolate was perceived as something which is consumed by children, which you had to also get adults to eat it. That's why, the communication and advertising around it was so iconic. And then there were a couple of other controversies that you had to face. One was, of course, was the worms controversy, which had European Amitabh Bachchan, to say that Cadbury is safe to consume. And then the most recent one, which was the one for Bonvita. What is the difference between, navigating and, battling a controversy back then as compared to now in today's day and age, in 2023?
Can I just preempt him?
Yeah.
Because I've seen more years and more ups and downs. And that's where I come back to what you had asked earlier. See, there is one thing which most people miss out on. It's called brand love.
Yeah.
Brand logic is what people follow. Brand love is what keeps you going. In these controversial matters, it was not just Mr. Bachchan. It was brand love, where the consumer said, anyone can falter. They gave you a license. Brand love gets you the license. In the recent one, the brand love gives you the license.
Yeah.
When you asked about the thank you thing that Sukesh spoke about, the generosity bit is all about brand love.
No, but brand love was there for even Nestle's Maggie, but it was wiped off shelves for like a substantial amount of time. But you guys survived that, you guys survived this. So what is the difference I
think it's very much Shibani, brand love, and I think we have a very special relationship with consumers. We believe in building an emotional connect with people. And that does help us in good times and in bad times. That equity that we build, that love that we build, that trust that we build with people and with consumers helps us in both good and bad times. So I totally agree with what Piyush said here.
Anil?
These are controversial times, and there are people who are going to have multiple points of view at any point in time, and each and everything will be interpreted in different ways. I think at times like this, the more authentic a brand is, the more resonant, the more resilient and more resonant it becomes. So I think the attempt has always been to be authentic and be truthful in what we offer, knowing what we offer and what our limitations are, and being authentic to it. I think that remains the compass, because as I said, any activity, right? So Shah Rukh Khan Maya ad, when it came online, or the reinterpretation of the Shimona ad that we did last year. For anything that we put out, we do see people having different responses. That's the nature of the beast. Earlier also, at any point in time, a piece of creative would have its own critics. And today in social media, critics are being fanned, critics are being shared, etc., etc. So our evaluation has always been, is this the right thing to do for the brand? Doing it consonant to the brand's core and the brand's values. And then we put our neck out and say, yes, then we go ahead and do it. There could be repercussions if we manage it. So I think that's being authentic it becomes even more important. And that authenticity also comes with a degree of humility. Hence, there is a fair amount of effort also in listening. So Shekhar and Shekhar's team, and we have a large consumer cell team, which is also constantly listening. And when it needs to be, when an action needs to be taken, we also take action. It's not just about messaging and managing, but also taking appropriate action. And that's how a kind of a brand and a consumer relationship gets strengthened, right? Sometimes you make a mistake, then the consumer expects you to correct, and then you take that action. So I think in summary, being responsive and authentic.
Piyush, if you can take us back to, how did you pull off the whole Amitabh Bachchan speaking about Cadbury is safe to consume in a commercial?
I think number one is what Anil has already said. The kind of stuff they did in magical time. They brought in machines. They went in for double packaging. In fact, when Bharat and I went to meet Mr. Bachchan, we actually, and he wouldn't agree to anything unless, because his reputation is also at stake. We actually took him and showed him that what we had done. And if you remember, there's one key line in that, where it says, Cadbury wale mere paas aaye, मैंने उनसे कहा इसके बाद मैं सो कैसे सकूंगा. Then we took them through the entire process of what we had done, and he says, आजकल मैं बड़ी चैन की नींद सोता हूँ. So, as Anil said, that we do something about it. If we had not done something about it, then it would be an ad. And it would not be an exercise. This became an exercise, delivered in a nice fashion through Mr. Bachchan, but the exercise was there.
Sukesh and Shekhar, now over to you. Festive time is when you are so alive and active. So what's cooking? What's cooking in the coming months?
The main kitchen is in Sukesh's hand. Sukesh, will you talk about the kitchen?
I think lots of exciting stuff, Shibani. And like I said, we are always a kitchen which is on 24/7. And that's the best part about this kitchen, which is what keeps our teams, everyone working on it, tech teams, media teams, everyone's so excited. So we got some very interesting, and I mean, we always hope we try. And we always hope that people love and really, enjoy the experience that we're creating for them, along with gifting. So we got lots. There's Raksha Bandhan. There is lots of new initiatives coming, and there is Diwali, of course, down the road. So we keep building. We are consistent, and like Anil rightly said, and we all have agreed and aligned. Generosity is a beautiful, guiding light that kind of just helps us to stitch things together, so that when we do things, they don't look haphazard and nobody questions saying, why are you doing it? Why is Cadbury doing it? And that's the best part. So if no one is really, and they're just asking, how are you going to surprise me next? How are you going to make my, experience go wow? So it's very challenging, but I would speak for everyone here. We love the challenge. It's great. It keeps us going, and we keep trying. We keep pushing ourselves, and we hope that we create in the coming months body of work that people love, you love, and all of us are again, meet again to talk about it in the near future. That's all we do.
And how many hands on the Mondelez account during the festive month, Sukesh and Shekhar?
All hands in.
All hands in.
Yes, always all hands in.
How many was it back then?
If given a choice, I think.
How many hands or how many people on the Mondelez Cadbury's account back in the 80s?
Number of people who worked in those days was much smaller, but the proportion of hands would be the same as now.
Is it? Okay. Final words, Nitin. What will we get to taste from Mondelez in the coming months? What do we have to look out for?
And there is a lot of exciting stuff, in the kitchen. As Sukesh already alluded to a few campaigns, it's a busy and exciting time for us with Rakhi, Diwali. We have a great birthday activation as well on celebrations that's coming up. There's work on Cadbury Dairy Milk, and we also are introducing a new product under Silk called Silk Ganache. So there is a lot of stuff that's kind of going on. And I must, Shivani, just say here that, we are really grateful for our partners, Ogilvy, Wavemaker. And I think I've said this before, if you go to a room and if you've got Ogilvy, Wavemaker and Mondelez in the room, you can't tell who is who. That's just the kind of partnership we have. Yeah. And very, very grateful for that. We wouldn't be anything but for this partnership.
How wonderful. Thank you so much. Thanks for joining us today. Thanks all of you. Thanks Anil and Sukesh for joining us remotely.
Thank you, Shubha.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for having me.
With that, it's a wrap on Storyboard this week. You can catch all of our content on Facebook, Twitter and YouTube. Thanks for watching. We will be back same time next week. See you soon.